Hello, everyone. Yeah, I figured why wait? Why do the little intro thing I sometimes do? I have a hard time snapping this comments. Oh, so close. Well, maybe I could do this and then that. There we go. I did it. Yeah. Comments over here. Heck yeah. How do I make this smaller now? Okay. We're doing it. Playing Nightmare on Elm Street, Belmont, on the NES. Speaking of the NES, okay, we got a lot of things to talk about tonight. Hello, everyone. Sorry that intro is weak. I'm still working on it. Hey, Bartleby. Yeah, so before we talk about anything, I got a cool little CRT today. We went to Savers, kind of out of the blue. Well, not out of the blue. It was for something completely different, but I always go by the electronics section of any why can't I think of any other company name? Salvation Army or whatever. What's the other one? The for-profit Salvation Army. I don't know. Anyways, any of those places, I always look at the electronic stuff. And I saw this, I'm like, okay, well, let me look at the inputs. So it only has composite in the front, which composite itself on a TV this small, I mean, this is probably what 14 inches or something. And it is very curved. I've never seen a TV with such a big curve to the screen. So I wish I had a better way to show it. If I was a little more not lazy, a little more industrious, I suppose, I could have taken my my mirrorless camera. I have a tripod. I could have put it on the tripod. The downs, right now you can't really see it very well because this webcam only does 30 FPS. So if I was able to do 60 FPS, you'd be able to see this okay. I mean, I'd have to adjust the exposure and stuff, but it not only does composite look fine, like I have another TV, a bigger one. I have probably a 24 inch. I think it's big. It's not huge, but it's not a small TV. So that's the problem. In one video, I think my original Xbox HDMI video, I hauled that CRT on top of this desk to film it, and it's very heavy. And thankfully this is a what do I have? Uplift. This is an uplift desk, the commercial one, which has a support that goes across it. So these are very expensive. I mean, this is like a $900 table. Highly recommend. Sit-standing table. It's 6 feet long, or 5 or 6 feet long, and you can get them in even longer lengths, which is crazy. And I think it's 3 feet deep, 32 inch. No, 32. I don't know. I think it's 32 or 36 or something deep, which is nice. It's a deep. Anyway, I'm talking about the bench. I'm talking about a lot of things. So, anyways, I've wanted a tiny CRT for a while. So this kind of fills that for now. Now I just have to convince the significant other to let me also keep the other CRT I have because that has component input. Right, so there's a lot going on tonight. So the main goal of tonight, actually, let me turn this off. The main goal is not this little mini CRT or the NES, which I jerry-rigged up. This is the Opentendo. So I put the stock RF module / power regulator stuff back in here. So I got my Opentendo working. That's what you're seeing on there. Oh yeah, so not only does composite look good on that TV, it looks great. And I wish I could show it because the colors look, for some reason this specific TV looks nice. So, okay, sorry. Let me look at the comments. I built one GBC Pocket like 3 months ago. I'll see-through blue. Nice. This is Great Bit Blog. I see you attached an NES. Yeah, I tested it. So the interesting thing is because the stock NES is only mono output, it kind of works because the speakers are so close to each other. So, but it would be nicer if I had this Opentendo NES RGB, because then you get stereo output, well, dual mono or duplicated mono, yeah. Second camera and capture source. So I have the capture sources. I have plenty of capture cards that could do this. I've been thinking, and possibly, and here's another plug for, this is an experiment really, but I say it's an experiment. I do want to stream for a while. So if you're interested in supporting me, you can become a member. I've been slowly adding things. I added a couple of emotes. So maybe Belmont, if you want to look at the emotes thing and use the two that or show off the two that or you guys can look at them, I guess. I don't really know that much about how the emotes work, but I got a couple of emotes for members. The idea, the reason I started the member thing was because I got an email from YouTube. They said they'd give me $500 if I even just enable memberships, let alone they'd give me another $500 if I got 15 members. So right now I'm at 3 members. I wish I had a fancy membership counter thing. If we get to 15 by November 15th, then I get another $500. So something to think about if you're interested in supporting me. Hey, Belmont, there we go. Or Bartleby too, yeah, look at that. It's kind of silly, but yeah. So there's that. All right, so what are we actually doing? So we are going to be, I'm going to be kind of, the first half of this stream might be a little bit boring in the sense that I want to cover a lot about the basics of this mod, the Game Boy Pocket Color mod. And then we're going to go specifically into Bucket Mouse's version. But we can kind of talk generally because there's just kind of this, I feel like Pocket Colors have become this really interesting, I don't even think it's a I'm not sure if this is going to be a practical thing for people to build, because Game Boy Advances can play Game Boy Color games, and if you are, oh, thanks for the gifted membership, Belmont. If you are interested in playing, okay, so I guess the whole reason I wanted to focus on this before other things is because I was playing my Analog Pocket a lot. So when I first got the Analog Pocket, I wanted to play, my goal was to play basically all the Pokemon games that I could in order. So I started with Blue, and then you guys know I had that stupid save issue with the Analog Pocket. It doesn't really matter. I'm not upset. It's here nor there. The second game, Gold, it was what I played as a kid, but I was replaying Silver. The problem with Gold and Silver is Gold and Silver have real-time clock functionality. So like all the time, there's a battery keeping track of what time it is, and the game, this for anybody out there that doesn't know Pokemon, I guess. Well, I guess there are people probably old enough to be watching this, but have never played any of the original Pokemon games. Anyway, so depending on what time of day it is, things like different Pokemon come out and things. So if you try to use the Analog Pocket with an EverDrive, it doesn't allow you to have some of the advanced features. If you try to play like the Specialized Core, the real-time clock also doesn't work. So if you try to play off of the SD card with the ROM. So basically what I'm trying to say is the Analog Pocket is a not amazing way to play Pokemon games because I think there's no real-time clock, or at least it didn't seem like it was working. And how that will manifest when you're playing Pokemon is the time of day only goes forward when you're playing the game. So if you wanted to wait for a Pokemon that's only available at night or day, you would have to literally wait 12 hours to get the game to go to night, and then again you'd have to wait again to get the next, whatever, you guys can understand. So yeah, Rip Bulbasaur, yeah, right. So that got me thinking. I have a Game Boy Advance. The problem with Game Boy Advance is the screen, when you play Game Boy Color / Game Boy games on a Game Boy Advance, the screen is smaller than the Game Boy Advance screen, and not just because the Game Boy Advance screen is kind of widescreen aspect ratio, but also it's cropped at the top kind of too. So it is not not ideal, I would say. However, it gets real-time clock done. So I guess the other alternative is just a Game Boy Color, using a Game Boy Color with my, because the real-time clock will work with the EverDrive that I've got. I've got the X7. Yeah, I've got the X7 EverDrive. So this supports real-time clock. So this is what I would prefer to play on. However, as much as I like the Game Boy Advance for playing Game Boy Advance games, I don't know if I necessarily like it for playing Game Boy Color games. So I think Game Boy Color form factor, like the up and down Game Boy form factor, is more ideal. That's one reason why the Analog Pocket is so nice, is because the Analog Pocket is the up and down form factor, and it's wider than a normal Game Boy, or Game Boy Color, I should say. So that's helpful if you have big hands or whatever. So it is a nice form factor to play on. So I don't know. I guess ideally it would be like a DMG color is what I should build. But anyway, so I think the Pocket Color, it's kind of a flex, honestly, compared to just pimping out, like getting a new screen for a Game Boy Color. All right, so that's sort of the that's where we're going to begin. That's the reason why I want to make a Pocket. Well, I've been interested about the Pocket Color for a really long time. Just as the story was developing, when I was still doing my Retro Monty News segments, I was very interested in making a Game Boy Pocket Color. But I never really just cared that much about it. So here we are now, and this stream is going to be sponsored by PCBWay. So we're going to get into that in a little bit. We're going to actually, why don't I take this down? Let's go over to the bench and we can look at, oh man, this whoops. This light sometimes doesn't come back on. This my studio light over here. So I got to turn it off over here and turn it back on. All right, meanwhile, I'm going to get rid of this too, the CRT. That's the other cool thing about this is it is extremely light. The CRT, I mean. So I could just throw this in the bottom of my closet or something and be golden. It's got cool handles up here. Yeah, nice. Okay, so I can. That's way more manageable. I mean, not like it's very playable, but you know, it is what it is. All right, let's look at the comments first, and then we're going to transfer over there. Does the real-time clock not work with cartridge on the Pocket? It should. Oh, so yeah, that's the other alternative, and that's something that I'll look into in the future, is making reproductions of the Pokemon games. I was asking about that, and I think I may take a run at the HDR replacement, or like the HDR repro cart PCBs. So I would love to be able to create all of the Pokemon games, all of the pre-Game Boy Advance Pokemon games, which is really what? Red, blue, yellow, gold, silver, crystal. Does it support crystal, that motherboard, that board? Anyways, so if you had repro carts, I believe all the features would work in the Analog Pocket. So that's another. I don't know about RTC actually though. It doesn't matter for the first games because they don't have any RTC functionality, but for like gold and silver. So I would be really interested if anybody has any experience with that. Yeah. With an official cart, the battery RTC will work. Okay, so yeah, that's right. The cart has RTC, and that is the reason why this is handy, because this has a battery in it. Anyways, yeah, so let's see. Pocket Color is, oh wait, the Game Boy Advance screen isn't great anyways because it's a very different screen that handles colors differently. Well, I have an IPS screen anyways, an older Funny Playing, so it's not laminated or anything, it's just a normal, but it is backlit, so it's kind of a basic at this point compared to some of the newer things, probably screen on this. The TV is cute as hell. Plus we have the Bucket Mouse. Yeah, everybody loves Bucket Mouse. Such a fun I don't know, username. I wonder if there's a means to make an RTC within the FPGA itself, like part of the GBC core. Yeah, so what I know next to nothing about this. However, I noticed when I was transferring my file, my save file from here, from the EverDrive to the Pocket, because I kind of started on here, it saves two files, a save file and an RTC file. And in theory, that's like an open standard, that RTC file. So in theory, it could work back and forth with a different device, like the Pocket, if it accepted that. So it's possible that the spiritualized core might be able to. I'm not sure. I didn't look into it that much. Well, I know I looked into it enough to get annoyed by it not working. So, yeah. I wonder if there's a means. Oh, yeah. Don't you dare put it in the closet. What? I can't put it in the closet? Where am I supposed to put it? I guess I'll have to find a spot up here. Maybe we'll have to clean some of this crap out over there. Yeah, an IPS display. Wonder what the colors are like. It's fine. I mean, I didn't ever make a video about this, or I don't really have anything else to compare it to other than the Pocket, the analog Pocket screen, I suppose. But I got a newer IPS screen. Your old one is perfectly fine. Okay, yeah, got it. Okay, so let's go over here. We're gonna talk about, actually, yeah. Let's. I'm trying to think of the order of operations that we should do this. Okay, let's go over to the bench, and I'll show some things off. Bench, yeah. Uh-oh. I always got to remember to flip it. Oh, you know what? Also, I need to... There we go. I also need to pull up the comments, because I forgot to do that. So I'm here. Oops, I also forgot to clean this. Whoops. Oh well. Got some little bits here. Some legs from when I was working on, I don't know, what the heck was the last thing I was working on over here? I haven't done anything with the other projects. I haven't fixed the PlayStation 2. Oh, if you don't follow me on Twitter, which you should, Stanislav tweeted that he has a working prototype of the audio part for the Mega Switch HD, the Game Boy or the Sega Genesis HDMI mod, which currently has no audio, doesn't output audio to the HDMI port. However, he's working on that. Yeah, he posted about it today. Well, that's really, really good. All right, so I'm also going to pull up the comments. Sorry, I'm going to do a few things at once here. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Look at the comments over here. Hey, welcome, Newman. Can't wait for the Analog Pocket OS 2 update. Finally got filters on free. Oh yeah, I heard about that. Isn't that they posted about that? Hey, Akiyam, how you doing? All right, logging in. Actually, you know what? I don't need comments for this particular section. All right, I'll try to be quick over here, but we'll share. I'll do this little sort of MIDI intro and talk about what we're going to be doing, sort of what the whole project entails. So I already kind of talked about why I want one of these. It's really kind of vanity, but if you look at the Game Boy Color side by side with here's a real Game Boy Pocket. With a Game Boy Pocket, you'll notice that the Pocket is just a little bit thinner than the Game Boy Color. Other than that, it's essentially the same. Well, I mean, the Color is a little bit longer. Well, it's just curved. It's a little bit longer. Oops. Really the same, pretty much. Actually, oh, I have my window open. Did you guys hear that guy floor it? Actually, the screen size is bigger on the Pocket, isn't it? Is the Pocket screen larger than the Color? That's interesting. So, in a nutshell, the Pocket Color is taking the CPU and is there a PPU or something, some kind of video processor thing, taking the guts out of the color and putting them into a board that fits inside of the pocket form factor. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. So, I don't know where to begin. Should I start with, we'll go to the project website, and then we'll talk about PCBWay, and then we'll start populating. Right? I guess? Yeah, let's do that. Okay. I'm back. Actually, I want this. There we go. Okay, so if you're interested just as a CPU, yeah, the Game Boy Color screen is smaller than the Pocket. Yeah, interesting. Oh, Bucket Mouse is a weirdo. Red herring. That's funny. Okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna. This is not the ideal project to start if you want to make your own PCB or if you're interested in. All right, so Game Boy Pocket Color is an open source project. All of the files that you need to build it are here on the GitHub. However, I don't think that this is a super beginner-friendly PCB. If you wanted to make one yourself, let's see if we can look at the actual. Okay, so this is one of the two PCBs. This is the power board. So that's the first thing that we're going to work on populating is this power board here. But as you can see, side by side with the quarter, it's smaller than a quarter. So it's mostly surface mount. Yeah, it's mostly surface mount. I guess there is some through-hole headers and things, but it is an interesting project, and it is open source, so all the files are available, and there's build material. So this is an excellent project if you want to practice your building and populating PCB skills. But I don't know if I would start here. I don't really know a good place to start either. That's something I never really. If you were going to teach somebody about assembling their own PCBs, so. We'll talk about assembling your own PCB. That's what I'm going to do on this stream. So this is probably going to be multiple streams assembling this. But I just wanted to let you know that if you are not interested in building it yourself, Bucket Mouse actually sells them himself on his Etsy store. So let's see. Is that here? Nope. He's got links here somewhere. Okay, so here's the power board. I'm trying to find links to. Oh, here it is. Okay. Yeah, so he has an Etsy store. He is selling them most. Oh, let's see. Let's find the options. The cheapest one is 12. This is just the board. Let's see. Sometimes he sells them pre-populated with most of the pieces, except for the things that you'll need to transfer from the Game Boy Color. I guess I didn't mention that. There are a lot of parts that we need to harvest from a Game Boy Color. That's why I have two Game Boy Colors. We're only going to need one whole one. Well, not a whole one, but parts of a whole one. So let's see. Do they have any pre-populated ones right now? I don't see them. I think occasionally maybe he makes runs of them. Okay, so right now you're kind of SOL if you wanted to buy a pre-populated one. However, buying a pre-populated one, you'd still have to do all the swapping of the Game Boy Color CPU. So this is, it's kind of an advanced project, and it's more so for people who want to DIY it, I guess was what I'm trying to say. But that's fine. We're going to talk about pretty much everything. Let's see. OpenTendo might be a good place to start. I would say yes. However, I think that you may get discouraged just by the sheer amount of soldering with the OpenTendo. You might give up. I would say that if there's probably, well, the problem with those like cheap like practice projects that you can buy on Amazon, those might be too simple. They're just like, they might be like, oh, solder some LEDs onto a circuit board or whatever, and a watch button, a watch battery or something. So, yeah. All right, let's look at the comments. Oh, yes. Thanks, Newman. OpenTendo, yeah, that's where yeah. I guess it would be, yeah. If you think that you want to build confidence, I think that OpenTendo is a good confidence builder one because it's really kind of difficult to mess it up, especially if you already have under your belt doing an NES RGB. If you have already done an NES RGB, then the OpenTendo is probably going to be cake for you. And it's good to practice. And when I say practice skills, like it's not just soldering practice, it's also two other very important skills, which I think are ordering the boards correctly, right? Like from a PCB manufacturer like PCBWay, and also getting all the parts that you're going to need is semi a skill also, because some project repositories, like Bucket Mouse one is good because it lists, well, actually, we haven't gone through it all yet, so I don't know if every single part it came from DigiKey or Mouse, wherever I ordered it from, but they have available a bill of materials, aka a BOM, which is another thing that you need to get all the parts to assemble the board. So I know that seems like a lot of information, and this might start sounding like a college course, but I highly recommend learning these skills if you're interested in retro. Now, yeah, they're good skills to know, to learn, is what I guess what I'm trying to say. So let's read just a couple things I couldn't find, so I'll have to just pull them off the original. Yeah, it helps if you have just an original NES Belmont. Just the power board sometimes. Yeah, that was my thought. My NES RGB fired up first try. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing really to mess up on well, I guess there is. You could solder a component backwards or something, so just pay attention to the orientation of stuff when you do that Belmont. But okay, so I said that there was two other things, and we'll kind of glide. I hope we can glide through them, but I'll try to show them off. So the first thing that you would need to do if you wanted to get to the point where I'm at now, which I have most of the parts ordered, I obviously have PCBs, and I've got some of the funny playing replacement parts here. So I can show you everything I have when I go back to the bench. But if you want to get to the spot where I am, you would have to go here. You would probably want to download the zip file, or you definitely want to download the zip file for the whole repository. So this is a GitHub repository. You don't really have to know what that is, other than for your purposes. If you don't know GitHub, if you're already not a user of GitHub, it's a way for Bucket Mouse to maintain what files are in what revision of his board. So he's had multiple revisions at this point of the same board, making improvements and stuff all the time. So it's a way for him to organize the files, and then a way for you to pull them down and then do something with them. The do something with them thing is order the parts. Actually, let me. Okay, so I'm going to. I download the repository. That's a zip file. I guess I should. I don't know what's in my download folder here. Not like it's. Never mind. All right, so let's extract that, everything in the file, and then I don't think it's a big repository, so it shouldn't take that long. Now let's go into that folder, and let's just take a look. So if you actually go into that folder that we just downloaded, there's a couple of interesting things. We need two things right now. We need to find the Gerber files to have a company like PCBWay manufacture the board for us, and then we need a BOM file or bill of materials file. So in the root of this folder is actually the bill of materials, and it's a .csv, comma separated value, or there's a XLS like the Microsoft Excel one, but we want this pocket color BOM. So keep that in mind, keep that in the back of your mind. We're not going to need that right this second, but that's the first thing that we'll need. The second thing is the Gerbers, which I think is this folder, or inside of this other folder. So in that root folder, there's this MGBC PCB, my God, folder. We go in there. Then there's this zipped Gerbers file, which we want it zipped. We don't want to unzip it. But it's anytime we want to build an open source project from a GitHub repo like this, we want to find that Gerber zip file, because that is necessary basically to have a company make your PCB. So let's talk about what do you do with the Gerbers? If you're interested in starting a project, I would right away probably see how much the PCB would be to manufacture and or start the manufacturing process, because that might take the longest. Although if you have to order parts from like AliExpress, sometimes you might. That would take even longer than probably getting PCBs ordered. So we want to find on whatever company website how to upload Gerber files, right? So PCBWay, I think it's under this instant quote, and then we click quick order PCB, and now we can just upload the Gerber file. Now when I say Gerber file, I mean the zip file with all the Gerber files inside of it. So inside of that folder we just extracted before, you find that Gerber's file. So here's where I kind of messed up. There's two versions of the Bucket Mouse Pocket Color. There's one, if you look at an OEM, well, I won't be able to show you right this second, but if you look at an OEM Pocket PCB, the top half is green. So like this top half would be green and the bottom half is white. Bucket Mouse has separated Gerbers that you can choose that or not. So I don't know which one is which. I'm just going to say this one is probably the two different color one. And so when you upload the Gerbers, this is like any PCB manufacturer website is going to they're going to do a check, like a design specifications check to make sure that your PCB can be manufactured by them. But if it's a pretty common open source project, then you shouldn't really have any problems if it's something that you know other people have been using. So, and then from there, it's all about choosing the right options. And I'm not going to go through every little option here, but in order to fill out the rest of this form here, and it looks daunting, but it's mostly not daunting. There are just a couple of options that we need to change well, there's actually two sets of boards, right, too. There's the main Pocket PCB, which we're going to populate, but then there's also this power board that is it's in a different repository, but we basically do the same thing for both of these. But then before you fill out the rest of this form, you'll have to go to the repository or the README file or whatever and find out the parameters that we need to change. So usually there's a section that is like, how do I order one? Let's see if I can find it. Final assembly is probably on the top, huh? Let's see. Circuit board. Sorry if it looks like I'm jumping around a lot. It's possible that this might be in. Is there a different? Oh, okay. Yeah, so there's another README in the folder where the Gerber zip file was. There was another README that explained. So here's the two different ones that I was talking about. So the one of the S is the dual color one. If that makes sense. Okay, so here's the board characteristics and order information. This is where you'll find. Okay, so I need to make it 2 layers. So that's the default for most of these PCB manufacturer things. So 2 layers. And then thickness is kind of important. Sometimes I think the standard thickness is like 1.6 millimeters, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's true. Actually, let's see. Yeah, it defaults to 1.6 millimeters on PCBWay. But we want to change that in this particular case for the Pocket main board to 1 millimeter. So it's thinner than normal. And then we want ENIG, so that's like a gold-plated copper, like on top of the bare copper before you solder it has some like hard gold or like gold plating on it. Or you can choose the cheaper. I don't know what that acronym stands for, but I think that's the normal silver plating that you sometimes see on boards. If you're gonna do the tactile buttons, I probably would do ENIG either way. Okay. hope I followed this. The file milling.gerber contains outlines for plated slots. Please add plated slots on the PCB according to this layer. I think that is done. I hope I don't do all this work for nothing, but it's fine. Oh, interesting. Oh, there is if you go to the repository here, I didn't realize, actually you may not even need to upload the Gerbers because Bucket Mouse has uploaded the files directly to PCBWay. So you can order them through this. This is like a PCBWay Plus, I don't know. But Bucket Mouse gets some affiliate revenue if you order PCBs through here. So that's another alternative if he's not selling, well, I guess I would, or like let's say you want a custom color or something and maybe they're out of stock on the Etsy store, I would check here. But Bucket Mouse probably can get a higher discount per board if he manufactures, or if he has PCBWay produce a lot of them, he probably can get a better deal that way. So I don't know. You have to see which one's cheaper. But either way, it will help Bucket Mouse, I suppose. Okay. So yeah, anyway, so let's, after you put in all the parameters, if you're, this is more of like a generic walkthrough, it's not specific to the pocket color, but you want to follow the directions for the pocket color. So I said 1 millimeter. Again, I'm not going to go through this, but here's where you would choose ENIG somewhere. Oh, here, immersion gold is what it's called in the PCBWay. So ENIG and yada yada. You follow the whatever other directions, and then you would just add to the cart, and Bob's your uncle. And then you wait for those boards to come in, and that's part one. And so we'll when we go back to the bench, we'll look at that stuff. I have a nice package from PCBWay. We can check it out, see what else they sent me besides just the boards. So yeah, that'll be fun. The second thing you need to do is you need to order all of the other bill materials stuff. So I would say go back to the beginning of the GitHub repo and go to the bill of materials. Now scroll to this part where it says brand new electronic parts. Some of these things, there's the BOM file. We could, oh actually, do they have, it looks like on Mouser, Bucket Mouse found a way to save the BOM. So you might be able to just click this link and it's like a preloaded cart of all the new components that you can buy, which is all your SMD components and stuff. Keep in mind that some aspects of this board are custom designed by Bucket Mouse, right? This is a custom laid out board. I don't know how much is borrowed from the Pocket, the original Pocket layout, but you know, obviously the circuit, the parts of the circuitry have been updated to be new parts. Maybe not updated is the right word, but they're new parts instead of like desoldering all the little components from the Pocket or Game Boy Color and swapping them over. But some things we will have to do that. So this list, this cart, saved cart here, which would be the same if you went to usually services like Mouser or DigiKey. So those are the two places that I normally buy stuff from. Like I normally go to DigiKey first. I don't have like a sponsorship by any electronics company, so I don't really have a preference. But you pick one of those two, whatever one you like better, like the name of better or something. I don't know. Then you can go to, basically you're trying to find a spot where you can, maybe the BOM tool. You're trying to find a spot where you can upload a spreadsheet, upload the BOM file. So here we're going to upload the spreadsheet. I just want to see what this does, you know. So let's choose, we'll go back to the main thing, and then we'll choose the CSV, the BOM CSV, and then upload that. So like those are the two things, the Gerber zip file and a bill of material file. Those are like, I would say almost mandatory unless you're out of your mind and you want to go look up each part individually. If a project doesn't have those two things, an open source project doesn't have those two things, then move on to something else because it's going to drive you crazy trying to find all the parts. Yeah. So then what? Is this going to put stuff in a cart? Okay, so then you've got to line up. So these are the headers from that CSV file, which is the top row, the titles of our columns of the spreadsheet. So we got to line those up with. We're getting to the point where we can go back to the bench, but just bear with me another minute while I talk about this. Quantity is fine. Part number? Is that manufacturer part number? No, some of these look like they're not part numbers though. Package is correct. Reference designator would be customer part number? Or maybe you can put it in the description. This is important to put the reference designators in as like customer part number or something, because it's almost a requirement to do that, because otherwise you're going to drive yourself crazy finding out which component in the bag belongs to what project. So if you're doing more than one surface mount, especially project at a time, well, you'll have like 50 bags and none of them have the reference designators on them. That's bad news, because then you need to come back to here and cross-reference and add the reference designator onto the package. At least that's what I did for my OpenTendo, because I was an idiot and I didn't put them on there. But this will tell you exactly where on the board that the part goes to. So that's kind of important. Well, I don't know. Doing it this way is more complicated than what I told you before, but I just wanted to see what happened. So things have to kind of line up. You kind of need the manufacturer part number, you need the quantity, and if those don't line up, then you'll have to search for the part or replacement part yourself. I'm not going to get into that today. I just wanted to kind of give you an overview of how to get started to where I am. So that's kind of step 1 and 2. 1 is order the PCBs. 2 is order parts, new electronic parts from Mouser or DigiKey. Step 3 in this, it's sort of like a 2 asterisk or 2A, I suppose, is buy other parts that are not available on Mouser or DigiKey, and that is like aftermarket Gameboy parts. So you will need the pocket color is only compatible with an IPS screen, and to keep it simple, I'm just going to say it's only compatible with a Q5 LED screen. Then you're going to need a lens, like a replacement lens. You can see now this doesn't have a lens on the top of it. So this lens, how tiny is this Gameboy Color? Well, that's kind of clickbait. I guess I would say that the Gameboy Micro is probably smaller than this, or actually this is probably smaller than the Gameboy Macro, the DS Lite cut in half. But if you have another Game Boy Color project that's smaller than the Pocket Color, let me know. So you need the screen lens, buttons, membrane. You want to source some of these parts, and you want a shell that is designed to work out of the box with the IPS screen. Because if you use a stock screen, if you use a stock Pocket case, which I probably don't recommend because Pockets are probably going to be rare-ish. I don't know how many they produce, but I don't recommend destroying a new screen because you would have to cut it in the back to fit the screen. So I would just recommend buying a replacement screen, and that's kind of what I've done already. We'll go over that again when we start building stuff. So just follow this list. Other things, button membranes, a speaker, battery tabs, stickers. I actually have some sweet replacement stickers I'll show you in the close-up. But that's like step 2A is getting all the other stuff. So I have almost everything except for a screen. I kind of put that off the last minute because I wasn't sure. There are some laminated ones that are supposed to work with a little tweaking, but according to Cody Wicker is his last name, or Cody. According to Cody, I don't know if it's that straightforward to do the laminated Q5. You need some other things. Whatever. Maybe in the future I'll experiment there, but for now, I'm gonna leave it at just the Q5 screen. All right, so let's head over to the bench and we'll go over the package that I got from PCBWay and see what they gave me. And then I kind of cheated a little bit, and I'm supposed to show you, unbox the package and show you what's in it, and but I opened it already because I couldn't help myself. It looks really sweet. So let's go over to the bench, and I'll show you the stuff, the goods. I guess so. Here, I'll show you this first. This is a funny playing screen. sorry, Funny Playing case that is going to be able to fit the Q5 screen. I have Funny Playing replacement buttons. They're just all black. I wanted to replicate this black Game Boy Pocket I got at Retro World, but it was very difficult to get. I couldn't find a solid black. Nobody makes a solid black. They just make like a see-through black. I guess I could have gone with the same color buttons, which I didn't really. But I tried to match the lens. I like this stock looking lens. However, what's really cool are these stickers, and I can't remember where I got them from. I should look it up and give them a shout out. But maybe the stream when I assemble this, because we are not going to get there tonight. But yeah, but I think the stickers look really awesome, and it kind of makes it look more. I mean, I guess the stock sticker is a nice shiny sticker, and this is more like a matte finish. But I thought it was cool. And then this little Mario sticker down here, the questions and service thing. So that's the buttons, membranes, and the case is what I've got, if you're curious. Then I have a giant bag of parts from Mouser here. And I'll show you what I was talking about with the reference designators if you've never done a thing like this. Let me pull up comments too. People are like probably trying to talk to me. I also have two Game Boy. Oh, come on, strap. I have two Game Boy Colors, and I'm not sure which one to sacrifice. And when I say sacrifice, this is still a debatably no cut, right? I could put these back together if I wanted to, as long as I don't damage them. But we will need the CPU and some other paraphernalia, buttons on the outside, the link cable port, these these wheels here, the headphone port. We're gonna need these from one of these two colors. So while I bring the comments up, you guys should vote. They both work. I think they both work. Actually, maybe we could test that in a second. But you can decide which one you don't like. This actually a little sway. This is not. Neither of these are my childhood Game Boys. I actually don't have my childhood Game Boy anymore. Sadly. But I had a cyan one when I was a kid. So this is a little bit nostalgic for me. Not to say that that's a reason not to choose this one, but actually that might be a better reason to choose that one, so that the guts of a cyan Game Boy Color live on as something new and cool. I could spray paint the case black. Oh, yeah. You think the black transparent looks better? Yeah, that's yeah. I have it semi matches my Game Boy Advance. The problem with my Game Boy Advance, I ordered this probably 3-ish years ago. All the parts for it, mostly Funny Playing stuff. The membranes that I bought from Funny Playing, it was all black, so I got everything black. So the clear black shell, all black buttons. So it's, you can kind of see where I got the idea for the pocket color stuff. But the start and select membrane didn't work when I put it in here. It literally just didn't push the button down or didn't make contact or something. So I had to swap out the stock buttons. So I did order a replacement membranes for this Game Boy to get it kind of working. Flip them over? What do you mean flip them over? Oh, to see the condition of them? Okay. Sorry. Okay, I'm here now. Collectors look for serial numbers, battery door, and Nintendo stickers. Oh, mine are all shot to heck. Well, this one I suppose is a little. I'm like I said, I'm not doing anything with the shell, and in theory, if I don't damage the parts as I take them out of this, I could put this all back together, and it would be a fine stock console. I don't have any plans to. Well, I couldn't. Use this case for, well, I guess I could put this, use this case. No, yeah, if I was going to do a Game Boy Color screen swap or something, I would buy all new case anyways. I wouldn't In fact, actually, every Game Boy mod I've ever done, I keep all the original parts. So I have a stash of Game Boy Advance shells. I have a stash of... Actually, I haven't done anything with the Game Boy Color yet. So, interesting. Okay, I did not know that about the saying purple looks worse. Yep, purple because it looks more beat up. Okay, cool. Yeah, all right, that's fine. I mean, we're not gonna get there today. We're gonna start populating some boards today. So we could bring this up next time, but I guess purple is on the chopping block. I do like the color. Nintendo, I think, of all the consoles that Nintendo has ever released, with the exception of maybe the fantastic N64, they really nailed the Game Boy colors, like the colors of the I don't know, the Play It. Is this Play It Loud or was Play It Loud the big Game Boy, the DMG? But I don't know. I really like the different colors that they use. All these colors are available. The lime. My brother had a lime one. I never. Is that pink or red? I don't know. Anyways, Newman in the chat actually has a full collection, right, of all the Game Boy colors. Okay, so I'm going to put these aside. Like I said, they both work, so that's probably something that you should look for if you're, well, okay. Technically, you probably should buy a color that's busted, a color that looks like garbage. Scratches, you know, something that nobody would really want to keep stock anyways, right? I guess these don't necessarily look that bad. I mean, they do. They're scratched, I suppose, but their screens are not super scratched. So these are not ideal. But it's just what I've got. And nowadays, y'all, I'm sorry, I am contributing to the reason why Game Boy Colors are like $80 to $100 a piece used now, and I'm sorry about that. But you know, I minimize what I try to buy. I'm not saying that like to be like, oh, look how good I am. I'm minimizing my impact. Like, I really don't care about that. You know, these are game consoles that are meant to be played by people however you want to play them, and I kind of believe that a lot of these probably got thrown in the garbage because mine got thrown in the garbage, probably because they were really scratched because I didn't really take care of mine when I was a kid. But I do feel like these were designed to be not disposable, but I mean, unfortunately, because of the size and, you know, they don't scream recycle me, like bring them to a recycling center. So I'm sure a lot of these got thrown out, but I don't want to ruin these. I want to just, you know, minimal damage to the original stuff. But then that's the cool thing, is like all the rest of it is new. Okay, so let's the Prince of Game Boys has gotten the price of Game Boys has gotten outrageous. Yes. I have all the colors in the word. Oh yeah, the color. So you use all these colors. Yeah, probably. Play It Loud as DMG. Got it. Yeah. Okay. All right. Enough about the Game Boy Color. But you know, the whole reason I'm doing this is because I want to use it. Like, I wouldn't do this. I'm not doing this to flip these consoles. Although I don't know how much a full build goes for, a Pocket Color build, but probably nothing. Just in parts alone, I mean, I bought the, well, okay, let's look at the PCBs, but I mean, you're probably going to be north of $400, like $300 or $400 all in if you get all new stuff. Screen, case, PCBs are expensive, and all the components are not cheap. I mean, they're not. These parts are probably the cheapest. The mouser parts are probably the cheapest part of the whole thing. But you know, you're looking at no longer is this the Pocket. No longer will the Pocket be a $100 Game Boy. It'll be a $400 Game Boy. But that's not my intention. My intention is to play it. Essentially, the best possible way to play Game Boy Color games is what I'm hoping. Okay, so we're gonna come back to this because these are actually the PCBs that I'm going to use. However, I want to look at this PCBWay package that they sent me nicely. So PCBWay is a sponsor of the channel. Normally when I talk about PCBWay sponsorship, I talk about the other kind of sponsored video that they do. which is like I do a shout out to what, all the services that they offer. But this type of sponsorship is like a project sponsorship. So they're going to be sponsoring this build, and I don't necessarily have to go over the same stuff that I talked about. I mean, we kind of already talked about, they also offer 3D printing services and CNC stuff too, but the main focus is to show, the quality of what they offer, I suppose. And hopefully it works well, the PCB works well. So I don't remember what is in here. Is this a giant sticker? Could I put a giant PCBWay sticker on my car or something? Or I wish I had like a... These are so big and so... Is it a sticker? Yeah, it is. These are so big that they could be like an official PCBWay sign at somebody's door or something. Or like, don't park here. That's the PCBWay parking spot. But it is pretty cool. You can still buy the original DS for dirt cheap. Yeah, I actually would like to revisit them. I have I want to visit DS's. I have a DS Lite that is, one of them's in really bad shape, which I plan to do a Gameboy macro build. But then I have another one. Yeah, that's for another time. And I suppose that might be I don't know. Maybe the story arc here is what's the best way to play Game Boy Color games. So like the Game Boy macro is an option. Okay, so I already opened that, whatever that was. So here's how so you get 5, minimum order is 5 of each board. Because when they do a PCB, when they do a batch of PCBs, they don't just have your project on there. So you'll have your project in a big panel. Like the stock material that they use, the 5th one is in the Game Boy Color shell or Game Boy Pocket shell. But when they come, they make them. They're on a giant sheet with a bunch of other projects and whatever. And then they come and they cut your project out. But that's why you get 5. Is because it's I don't know what the word is, more efficient, I suppose. They've got more to do. So why bother making 1 when they can just bust out 5? So I have some more. I don't know if that means I'm going to build more, but we'll see. And they're thinner than normal, which is interesting. And they're ENIG, so we can zoom in. So I kind of messed up, and I didn't necessarily want the white, so I uploaded the wrong Gerber file, but it's okay. Now that I see them in person, I don't not like the dual color, because this is what the stock screen or the stock pocket motherboard kind of look like, except for the stock one is green, and this one is like a matte black, which is really cool. And it looks awesome with the ENIG gold. Actually, you know what? It also matches my Game Boy Advance lens, the aftermarket one that works with the funny playing screen. It's very much ENIG vibes. It's like the same shade of gold almost. So I just thought that was cool, and it sort of matches. But yeah, the ENIG, and especially on the contacts here for the buttons and stuff. So yeah, so this is I don't know if we're going to be populating this tonight. I think we'll probably start, because it is, we'll have to see. We'll start with the other PCB that's in here, the power board, because that's a little bit smaller. Yeah, so we'll get to that in a second. Ooh, they gave me a little pencil bag thing. PCBWay pencil bag thing. Ooh, what's this? Does this work with clone CPUs? I think it does. Hey, scruffy looking RGB. Don't park here. Oh yeah. Yeah, the matte black, and this is that not like it needed a demo of their clear resin. I think this is resin. It looks very similar to my Ashita. So they send out little demos, and I have another one. The other time I made a for my, what was the other project? Oh, maybe my when I was making my blue retro PCB thing. So this is like a glow in the dark kind of. I don't actually think it glows in the dark. It's just like I don't remember if it does or not. Maybe it does faintly, but this is also resin. So this is one of the materials, and I've got this clear one. So now I'm going to starting a collection of the different types of materials that PCBWay can print. But Also highly recommend PCBWay for Ashita, clear Ashita shells. Maybe I'll show that off. I used my PCBWay sponsorship for building this as well. So I do highly recommend their clear acrylic is really nice. So, but yeah, now I have a little demo, a little demo piece. Okay, so now that is that. I don't know where that other board is. Maybe I put them. Oh, it was in this little thing. Okay, there was more in there. Let me put these boards back, actually. There we go. Okay. Now here's where we're going to start. And this is, I suppose, this is probably like the test, the true test to see if you are worthy of building a Game Boy Pocket Color, is if you can assemble the power board here, little power board things. And I don't actually know, would these work? I don't know if Bucket Mouse says he might stop by. Let me just read the comments for a second. I thought one of these worked with knockoff Game Boy. Yeah, I can't remember their username, but yeah, somebody else was working on something with the clone chip. Where can you get clone CPUs? Well, you can get them in clone consoles on AliExpress, clone Game Boy Colors. One day I'm going to stop being scared and tackle a project with surface mount chips. Yeah, the key, Rambro, the key is to find a project that has surface mount parts with a manageable size. And I'm sorry I can't zoom in even more than this. Oh, you know what? I lifted my camera up so I can go lower. I lifted my camera up to fit the CRT because the CRT barely fit under my my camera rig thing. The key to learning surface mount soldering is to find a project or a board. I would say one, it's easier to work on surface mount components on a brand new board, right? If there's nothing else to worry about, if you're not worried about knocking off another component, like using a just normal soldering iron, I think that's the way to go. But two, it just gives you more. Well, I guess the other thing too is you want to make sure that it's a normal size. So, unfortunately, the power board, not even to mention the other board, because the other board has the CPU pins on the top here, right? So that's very fine pitch. I don't know what the pitch is, but yeah. But this has an IC on it. This board has an IC on it that does have very fine pitch. So that's kind of challenge one, is to see if that works. I'm not sure if this power board works with an actual pocket. Like, how could you test the power board without finishing your build, your Pocket Color build? I don't know if it's just a drop-in replacement. I suppose I wish I had the, oh, they also sent me a pen and some more other little stickers, sorry. Stickers and a pen. So, thanks again, PCBWay. You can check them out. I put a link in the description. Yeah, use them to get a board or buy it from Bucket Mouse's Etsy. So, all right, that is. Oops, I forgot to put these other little boards away. I'll put them aside. That is, I guess that's the conclusion of the PCBWay section. But obviously, we're going to be seeing a lot of the board itself, so it's not like we're going to be not seeing PCBWay. All right, so let me take a break, catch my breath. Oh, I see Bucket Mouse is here. Hey, Bucket Mouse, finishing up some housework. Yeah, nice. All right, let's see. Let me scroll up. Wow, that clear shell is immaculate. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, go watch my. Just go watch my my Ashita video, even just the last one, if you just want to see what it looks like. Power boards do work on stock colors and pockets, but since it only produces the 5-volt rail, you're required to use one of the modern screen kits. Can't use a stock screen. Okay, so if you had a Game Boy Color that had a modded screen, you could test it. Got it. Okay, that makes sense. So unfortunately, that means I'm gonna be kind of winging it, but that's all right. All right, so I have some thoughts. I don't have, for anybody who doesn't know these streams, I guess if you're, for some reason you started watching me after I stopped making YouTube videos, like when I started streaming more than making videos, then the first thing I like to do is just kind of, I have like a think about, make up a game plan, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say. With surface mount stuff, the only through hole on this little board are the pin headers here, so we're not going to worry about those right now. But we need to think about order of operations. How are we going to, what order are we going to start putting things on this board? And I think if anybody else is experienced with building boards, and actually I think Bucket Mouse explains this in the on the GitHub repo, you want to start with this guy. I guess it's called U1. It's this board that has, or this chip here that has the tiny pitch on it. And I think we need to use hot air to do it. I don't have a stencil for this or anything. When you get, I would say that this is probably a more challenging surface mount build, only because there are some extreme cases like this one. But you'll see other places there might be like other components. Like some of these here, that's an okay size to learn in surface mount soldering. I don't have, actually, you know what I have that's interesting that could demonstrate what I'm talking about? And again, from PCBWay, so it's kind of, where is the thing? Here's some. Okay. PCBWay gave me this a while ago, but it has I'm just looking at it, sorry. It has the different size surface mount footprints. A footprint is the physical space that a component takes up on a PCB. So I would say from experience that all the larger ones here, all the way up to 0805, which are this one here, 0805, which is this category here. Those are doable for somebody who's never done surface mount. Like if you're learning it, I would say that that's very doable. That's a challenge for sure, but it's doable, right? As you get bigger, obviously it does get a little bit easier to learn. But obviously there are jerks like, 0603, which is the next highest one here. And all the way up to like 0402. Those ones are awful. I hate hand soldering those with a passion. But it looks like most of these, other than that U1, like I'm not sure what kind of package that is. So the other thing too is something called a package, which if you look down here, these are different packages. Like they're just kind of like generic layout footprints for different components. I don't think we're gonna see a wide variety of those. Oh, look. Okay, so like another thing that's cool is we can identify footprints and stuff too. So we'll move on in a second, but these components that have like three, what is this called? Q4. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it says Q4 here, and it has three. We can actually use this little ruler to look up what that component is called, or what that footprint is called, I mean. It looks like maybe SOT23, SOT23, which I don't know what that stands for. But that is oops, I'm sorry, you guys didn't see because I was off the screen. Yeah, it looks like this guy here, SOT23. So it's kind of a cool thing. You can visualize what they look like. But people that design circuit boards or PCBs in an editor or something, that's what that's part of the thing that they're doing when they're designing it, is choosing footprints and making stuff work together. And yeah, okay, so I'm gonna buy one of those rulers. Yeah, I'm not sure where you get them from, the PCBWay thing. I mean, step one, just get a PCBWay sponsorship. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I have a decent scope. Yeah, okay. Maybe the 1.6 stellar amount of breeze. Nice. All MGBC passives are 0603. Okay, got it. 0603, such a jerk. Get real, buddy. Yeah, microscope actually, you know, anybody who is new to, oh, that's what I was trying to say, I think, before. I don't have a scope, so I do everything by eye. So it makes it a little more challenging for me, but I have some experience, so hopefully that will translate and I'll have no issues, but yeah. I have a pocket with an IPS. Oh. What temperature do I set your iron to for populating the board? I'll just, honestly, I do everything at 350 until otherwise, I don't know, until the house burns down. 350 is just what I solder at for the most part. Especially with ENIG. I think ENIG, you do want more heat. Like, you want to make a better, or leave your joints to wet longer, if that makes sense. Okay. Homie just flexed on me. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to reach out to my maybe there's a spot where they can send you a little ruler on their site, because these are handy if just even if you're a casual PCB enjoyer, you know, it's cool to look at that. Okay. All right, so now the next thing is we need to start finding all of our parts to populate the power board. Like I said, we are going to start with U1 because it has the smallest pitch, so it has the most opportunity to mess up. But we also need to talk about something. So when you order from Mouser, all your electronic components, I sort of feel bad because I think in the beginning, I don't think Mouser and DigiKey, I don't know, expected that people are just going to build projects like this, because look at the amount of waste. Like, those companies, Mouser and DigiKey, like, they can sell you a giant reel of each component. Like, that's what they're kind of meant for, is supplying companies that produce mass quantities of PCBs. So every time I order from those companies and I just get 50 or 100 plastic bags, I feel like a jerk, because I'm like, oh, really, there was no better way for them to send me 1,000 components but you know, it is what it is. Now, you have to kind of learn, most components are fine without a scope. Finding bridges on, there's a stupid heart in my, on the flat flex connector, and CPU is a bit difficult without one, yeah. Well, actually, yeah, I would say that is where soldering skill takes over and it assists if you don't have if you don't have a scope. Because if you understand how the solder is flowing, that really helps you out, especially when the more drag soldering you get used to doing. I'm not an expert when it comes to drag soldering. I've done, you know, quite a bit now, but I'm not like one of those people that does flex cable connector soldering a lot for their like mod company or whatever that they're doing. So okay, so one of the most important things, or actually really the only thing that you need to worry about, or I guess there's two things, but let me just see. Huh? I'm trying to get one of each. What? Okay. So yeah, customer part number is what I said that we should put the reference designator on, and that shows up on the packaging here, right? So it says customer part number, and this particular one is a bad example, but it says many C's because this is all the little capacitors that we're going to need to solder. So let's go to another one. No, this is a pin header or something, some kind of housing. SMD resistors. Okay, yeah. So here's a good example. So this is R6. This is reference designator R6, which corresponds to R6 on the pocket itself, and that's what you use this for. So that is, that's basically mandatory. Otherwise, you're going to have to cross-reference that original BOM list. So I'm going to pull out everything that is meant for the power board. I want to find one. I want to show you what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, okay. So if you use that cart that if you use the cart that Bucket Mouse had prepared already, it puts PWR in front of the customer part number to let you know that it's for the power board. Okay, so PWR, this is for the power board, and R2, R3, and R5 on the power board. So there's resistors in here. We'll put those aside for the power board. That's what I'm trying to sort everything right now. I guess I should have done this earlier, but okay, so this is not for the power board. This goes over there. I'm looking for PWR. D2, nope. PWR, okay. This is fun. I'm just going to zoom out. You guys can watch me go crazy sorting these. Okay, PWR. I swear that this is less boring. I guess it's kind of boring watching me do it, but it is very exciting for you to do it yourself. I'll look at the chat in a second. I'm just gonna keep sorting. It's very fun to do yourself. It's hard to demonstrate how tedious it is. So that's not a power one. I put it in the wrong file. Okay, nope. Nope. Power, yep. Whoa, what is this? What is packaged in here? Some silica gel? Oh, power. Oh, here's our boy. I'm just curious. This is our U1 on the power board. This bag contains a moisture-sensitive device. Oh, like the thing I bought was moisture-sensitive? Okay. Got it. Don't eat this. All that for this little guy. Yeah. This little, you can't even see it. It's in there. Okay. All right, let me look at the comments. Found the rulers on the website. 99 cents. Hey. Nice. Yeah, I definitely want Obi-Wan. I want to get a good scope. That's what I'm going to use the $500 for, I think, from the YouTube thing. That's why I mentioned it earlier. So again, plug for memberships. If we get 15, I think, before November 15th, then YouTube will give me $500. So that I can use for gear and stuff. So a laser. Oh snap! They not only make ruler reference guides, but they make coasters. Hey, coasters are sweet. That's cool. A gift idea if you know somebody that is into technology. Okay, you two. I'm just going to continue. Sorting. Thankfully, most of these are for the actual pocket board itself. So a lot of these are going to get out of here for our the power board build. Okay. Here. Nothing else is fun to look at. Power. Okay, so I'm going to kind of talk about what's going to happen next. We're going to work on that U1 component. However, I think we need to hot air it on. So I'm kind of not sure how well that's going to work. And I also know that if we don't, if it doesn't work right, then there's a potential that we can ruin it later on. Oh look, I got some new components. This is some kind of job. Oh, this is a job. Oh, okay, that's for controlling the. There's some menu options or something. OSD. Let's see, C4. I'm almost there. Almost there. Yeah, R1. Some flex cable connectors. They gotta be for the pocket. No. Power Q3. Okay. Power Q2, Q4. R2. C9. I also wanted to... maybe I'll save that for another time. Okay, and then some headings. I don't know if we needed these, but they're gold. Gold plated. Nice. That's for the pocket. Yeah. Okay, so all those ones that I just took out that were not for the power board, I'm going to put them back into the bigger bag that Mauser sent everything in so I don't lose them all. So that's everything that we're going to need for the actual build. So the actual build is going to probably, it might make me pull my hair out. Because it's all SMD. I don't think any of it is tiny, but if it's 0603, even that is a lot. And that could, but there's strategies, so. You ate in plastic bag, yeah. Well, you know what's funny? I have all the plastic bags. I've kept all the plastic bags for most of the projects. So I did, this was from the OpenTendo, and this was this is both from the OpenTendo. So I have probably a good, I don't know, 50 or 100 bags in each of these other bags. These are all the static for you. Maybe this is only like 5 or 8. Or something, but this one has 50 bags in it. So for every project that I've ever done, that's this, yeah, either OpenTendo or the Supergun minigun, or minigun Supergun, I mean. So I have just a lot of bags just chilling that I'll probably never use, but I feel bad to throw them out. Yeah, nice. I don't know. I mean, it just, I feel real bad, but you know, if I ever need to, I don't know. If I ever need to, well, what are you gonna do with these, honestly? If you're not like a, I don't know, PCB man. All right, let's get to Q1. I need to get him. Here's Q1. Okay. Don't look at the lasers! Attention. The stickers are always hilarious, but it's usually like static electricity warnings and stuff. So all that just for this. So this was inside of that bag, inside of that other bag, just for this thing here. Oh, wait a minute. This is wrong. Did I not take Q1 out? Oh, I took Q1 out. I want U1. Oh, gosh. Don't get confused. Okay, well, that was unfortunate. Where is U1? U1. U2. Oh, this must be U1. Static shielding bag. Yep, here it is. So I'm getting to the point where I'm trying to explain what I'm doing here. I'm just going to take this thing out of the bag and we'll look at it. So I don't know. I'm not an electrical engineer. I don't build boards. I know a little bit, but I might say something stupid. So just I'm saying sorry ahead of time. Some packages, surface mount packages, have, okay, after all that, some surface mount packages have, I guess, some through hole? No, I don't know if any through hole things have. So there must be a big ground pad on the very bottom of the chip, which, and the legs don't really stick out. I mean, this is it. This is the chip that we're expected to solder on that U1, and it's a doozy. I don't think I can drag solder really this because the pins don't stick out. I mean, I suppose I could drag solder on the board, but the board, yeah. There's not going to be any drag soldering with this component is what I'm trying to say. However, I feel confident that if we use, actually, let me figure out how do we orient it first off? Okay, oh my God. Okay, so I'm sorry, guys. I don't have a scope. I really wish I did. This would make this video a lot, this stream. You'll have to take my word for it that there is a tiny dot on the top right corner of this component, okay? That is going to match up with the dot on the solder mask on the board. So if we look at the board, I need to turn peaking back on. I need to, hold on, I'm looking for a button on my, there we go. Display peaking on, got it. Okay, there we go. What was it saying? Oh, forgot what I was going to say. Well, anyways, I am going to, so we need to, oh, yeah, oh, the dot on the solder mask. So there's the dot there. So my strategy for this is we need to use hot air, essentially. I don't really see any other way. I guess if you had a hot plate, that is another possibility, because this board is small enough that you could buy I think that's probably the cheap route. There's something called the hot plate, which is like a way that you can solder by you basically are heating it from the bottom, the solder, and I don't see any major components on here that really could get damaged by that. If there was other components and stuff on the bottom of a board, you wouldn't really be able to do that. But A, since this is the first component on this board, and B, there are no other pads or anything on the bottom of this, that might even be an easier way to solder this than with hot air, which is what I'm going to do. But I'm going to try. I don't do many of these. I actually have never done this particular footprint, this particular size thing. But I'm going to wing it. And how I'm going to wing it is no leads. There are no leads. You're right. It's QFN. Okay, so QFN, if we look at our thing, is one of these guys over here. So it's basically, it's got pins around the edge, and then it has usually like a ground or something in the middle. And that's a way that they can save space and get more density, more connections to the PCB and stuff like that, yada yada. So I melt the paste with my hot air and replace the component with solder is flowing and wiggle it slightly. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm going to do. So essentially what I'm going to do first, and you guys can this is either going to be a fail or a win, is I'm going to take some solder, some leaded solder. I'm going to put a little bit of solder on the whole footprint, like I'm going to try to get a thin but even application of just normal solder everywhere. This is too much even, actually. So I need to take I'm going to have to take some solder off. But I'm just going to kind of drench everything. Now I need to take a little bit off, but... And I guess I would also try, well, I guess it doesn't really matter. In this particular case, it doesn't really matter. But. Okay. So I think that's probably fine. Well, just make sure every leg gets some solder, I guess. And I also guess that you should try not to bridge anything. Okay, so I guess I can kind of show that so far. Ouch, the PCB is hot, so probably don't do this in real life. Hopefully that makes some sense. I just literally just slathered some solder on it. Like a thin coating, try to get... You want enough so that the next part goes well. And actually, I don't know if I'm supposed to put solder on the piece also. Well, so what's going to happen is after we put the QFN package on there, let me just see. Okay, I want to put like a little bit more on the middle, because that's what that big ground pad is, like the tiniest bit more. Okay, that's fine. And now I don't know if I want to add more to the individual. I guess I will. A little bit more to these side leads. Now I'm not super concerned. I guess you probably should make sure that there's no bridges now. However, as long as you don't use a lot of solder, which I don't think I have too much solder, but I might, the next part should be fine. So here's the next part. Right, next part is grab your hot air rework station, which I'm thankful that I have a nice A10 or A10, the old Louis Rossmann special. So the A10 ST862D. But this is like what? A $300, $400 hot air, about $300 I think. $300 hot air rework station. So your $400 Game Boy is now a $700 Game Boy. Don't tin the QFN. Okay, so the actual part itself, yes. Okay, so I don't know what temperature now I'm gonna solder at. Let me just. I don't often solder at hot air, like actually solder things as opposed to desolder them. Thanks, Scrappy. Here, let me. I'm at my desk right now. I want to just Google, or if anybody has a recommended solder or hot air temperature for this, I don't really know. I'm just gonna Google it. Hot air rework temperature. What? 450? This doesn't sound right, guy on Reddit. Does that sound right? Typical lead-free solder has a melting point in 217 degrees. Okay, that doesn't help me. So this one says 300. Oh, here, how to solder a QFN component using a hot air. Oh, look at this. This is like perfect. This is like DigiKey. You use 666. Okay, so 400 is right. Okay, I think somewhere here. That's funny. Let's see. Pre-tin the pads. Okay, so I'm doing this correctly. You want them to be as even as possible. Okay, so maybe I have too much now in the middle. If the goal is even as possible. I'm going to attach a thermocouple near the footprint. What? That's to measure. Oh my God. So you're like creating your own temperature profile? Okay, well, I'm not doing that. 300C. So there's the concept of preheating, which some people actually, there is an actual preheating device, which is, it's kind of like a hot plate. And it generally heats the PCB, the entire PCB up to make hot air more effective because you're doing it shorter. Okay, so they're continuing. Oh wait, yeah. So they're holding it high above the part for like a minute or two, and then they're going down more localized. And this is an interesting picture too. They're pressing down on the packet of the part with tweezers. But we don't want to. I think what I'm expecting to happen is once we start heating this up, the part, I don't have to be super precise with lining up the part on the board. The surface tension of solder will kind of manipulate the part to be where it wants to be. And then is when we're going to use the tweezers to kind of push it down. Okay, so they're actually doing that. Okay, that's kind of clever. Should we try the thermistor thing? I have a thermistor plug-in or a part for my multimeter. Is this silly? I think the only thing we're going to populate today is this one part. Okay. Got it. Okay. Well, let's just YOLO it. 666F. Ah, hey, look at that. Okay, 400. All right, good. Got it. Hey, thanks, Newman. Wow, enjoy your memberships, people. We're on our way to 15. I had this dumb joke in my head. I'm not going to say it. Okay. Is this even enough? I think I got a bulge. No. I have the middle of this is high. Okay. So I'm just going to ensure that it is, I guess it's like similar height. The only problem is you can't really add more solder to the ground, the middle, the center, once it's all together, I don't think, unless you can do it from the outside edge. Now, so that's step one. Step two is turn on or set up your hot air. So I need to change mine to what, 400C? And I'll put it at like, I don't know, 80% airflow. On a hot air rework station, there's usually two options. One of them is the temperature, obviously, of the air. But the second one is the flow, so how fast the air is moving through it, which is also kind of important. But in this case, it doesn't really matter. This is a brand new board. Yeah. Flux the crap out of it. Okay. Yep. Hopefully. Okay, so I do have my Amtech flux. That's going to be like a need. I would not try this if you don't have high quality flux. Now, I know that there's multiple types of flux and stuff, and I'm sure even Amtech makes tons of different types of flux for different soldering profiles and things. Like, because professional, I don't know, well, I guess if you were like a mass producing a board, you would actually use solder paste and stuff, which is kind of different. But in this case, I think we would use something like this. So take this flux and we're going to just goop it, just entirely goop it everywhere. We don't really, right at this point, we don't need to worry about any other parts. That's why we're doing this first. Let's say you were doing a repair on something that had a QFN package. You would definitely want to put Captain tape around everything that you were not afraid or not worried. Anything that you would be worried about getting blown off, like literally getting blown off the board, the PCB. Oh, I forgot to put our part on. So keep in mind the dot, I think, was in the top right. I should go back, or I should verify that. I need my tweezers. Just looking for tweezers, guys, sorry. Where are my stinking tweezers? Tweezers, where are you? Tweezers! Excuse me. God, that was gross. Okay, I found them. Okay, Tweezy boys. Okay, so I should have double checked. Actually, I have those other boards. I need to check where that dot was. I think it was in the top right. Oriented, yeah, top right. Okay, so the dot on the PCB is top right. Take my word for it that this, the top, well, somewhere on this little guy is a dot. Okay, yeah, you just gotta take my word. I have like some goop or something on my tweezers, and this part is so small that it's sticking to it. Okay, so just put it in there. Yep, it doesn't look good now, but we'll get there. Okay, so now I'm gonna kind of do, this might get loud, I hope it's not too loud. I'm gonna kind of do what they said on the, let me just see if there's any last minute, I thought it was Satan. I'm sorry, okay. It's Halloween, it's fine, in 2 days. Okay, I'm gonna do the old hover way high, so this is like preheating essentially the board for like, it said to do it for like, I don't know, oh, this is too much air. So I'm gonna crank the air down to like 50%. It's going too fast and it's moving the air, it's moving the part around a lot. So I'm kind of heating the whole board, and there's gonna be a certain part where, did I move it over? There's gonna be a certain part where you're gonna be able to still, oh my God, see that? It's like, yeet. Oh, I can kind of like air hockey it around, it's funny. Okay, so, oh, dropped it. All right, scrap the fast air speed. I need to go to like a low. I'm gonna try like 30. Because I'm afraid that we're just gonna yeet this thing off. Okay. All right, let's keep trying, I guess. There's gonna be a part where we're gonna be able to move the piece around still, but eventually it's gonna become kind of springy. Like right now it's not connected whatsoever, but eventually it's gonna kind of find its own home, and I'll try to show that as best I can. I said I know this is not ideal circumstances for you guys watching, but I wish I had a microscope, but okay, this is a lot better. I still can't get really close to the board. What I'm looking for on the board right now, since I kind of heated it up a little bit, is I'm trying to, like, I'm squinting at it. I'm really up close to it on my table, and I'm trying to see if I can see the solder flowing, or like starting to become molten. Kind of. It's kind of getting, huh. my my table is getting hot. Okay. I don't think it's there yet. I can't move it anymore, which meant that the some of the solder is flowing, but I'm going to add some more flux, and I'm going to keep going. I'm also going to move it over because I'm afraid I'm going to melt my my mat. I have a mat underneath my mat, my heat mat, you know. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing again, basically. Huh? Okay, my air is going nuts. It's just turned itself off. I think I hit the button. Use helping hands to hold the board in the air. Okay. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. I don't have helping hands, but I do have a little... Actually, I hope I don't melt this. Actually, these parts are made of metal, so I think that's fine. Oops. Drop something on the ground. Is this metal or is this plastic? Uh-oh. Are these holy bits? On this clamp thing? Are we gonna melt this? This is my... It's not helping hands, but it's like a whole board holder, and it's just super close right now. So maybe that's a good thing. So I'll do like this. I guess actually I can do... Oh gosh, I hope I don't break it. I hope I can do it like this. Yeah, look at that. Look at me go. Now I can refocus it. That also kind of brings it closer to the camera. Helping hands protect the table too. Yeah, that makes sense. Yep. Don't want to ruin my... Okay. I think this is I hope this is a little bit better. We can sacrifice... Well, I don't know. I don't really want to sacrifice these plastic things, but I'm assuming that these plastic things... Well, I'm assuming that... I hope that they're not plastic. I hope there's some kind of cheap metal that can take some heat. So, all right. Now I'm doing the upside down thing. That makes a lot of sense because otherwise you risk... Oh, I also don't want to make sure that my camera is not getting blasted with air. But you don't really risk the part coming off, right? So I'm heating it from the bottom. And hopefully you guys will be able to see on the top here, the part will straighten out. Right now it's crooked a little bit. I'm also going to go in like kind of like smallish circles. I want to spread out the heat. Okay, look. So now I think some of the solder is molten or getting there. Gosh, this is kind of tricky, guys. I'm not going to lie. I don't know why it's not. Maybe more airflow? All right. Oh, it's smoking. That's not a good sign, is it? Probably all the flux. Or maybe it's going to explode. Don't do what I do, kids. Okay, I'm not roasting my camera, and I'm not roasting my TV. Oh. Okay, so it's molten. Okay, I'm trying to line the piece up better. It's not helping me out here. I guess that's fine. Ow, my tweezers are really hot. Dang. Okay, I think it's lined up now. It's been on there for a bit, the heat, so I'm gonna let it sit. We can always touch it up, but I want to read the comments. 77%, Flex Smokes got it. Yeah, Belmont, I would not say that this is difficult as much as it is because, you know, I don't know how easily you can damage new components like this. You probably can, like if you roasted them for like a whole afternoon, you had like, you had the hot air on it for like hours and hours, you probably could damage it. But for like, you know, a couple of minutes, I don't know if you could damage it that easily. But... A lot of this is just learning the best way to solder for you. Jack V has made 10 times more pocket colors than I have, and his process is totally different than mine. Yeah, that's why you guys can watch what I'm doing, but you may have a better way. A better way might exist, I guess. I don't know. I mean, that looks fine, right? How would you know? How would you know? I guess we could take some IPA to it and clean it off first, the flux. I don't think anything bridged. Oh, I didn't push down, did I? I didn't push down like the guide said to do. But I don't really know if you need to. The weight of the part itself is usually pretty good about keeping it down. Well, I think it's lined up vertically, but I don't think it's lined up. I can kind of see the pins on the side. I know you guys probably can't. Yeah, but it's not 100%. I think I'm gonna do a little more heating. If you have a magnifier, you can try to see the sides of all the leads are connected to the board. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna try to poke at it again with the. Let me get some more flux on it. Okay. This is the scary part about this is the first piece that we won't really see how the part works until way later. But that's all right. Still having fun, right? I do see the solder being molten. So right now I see. I don't have a smoke detector in this room. That's probably don't tell my local government. Actually, no, it's up to code because I have one outside my door. Technically, I think every bedroom needs to have a smoke detector, but mine doesn't. I would say that left and right it looks fine. Yeah, and I'm even trying to like nudge it a little bit. And it keeps returning to the same spot. So that's what I was trying to say before is when it's in the right spot on the board, I'm going to get my fume extractor thing. If it's in the right spot on the board, oh, fuck. Fudge, I dropped something else. If it's in the right place on the PCB and it's at the right temperature, then the solder is going to kind of hold it in the right spot. That's what I was trying to say before. Okay. It looks good for zooming in on your phone. I know it's hard. I got my fume extractor after, so I got one on there now. It's too late, but sometimes doing so can actually cause bridges. Oh, pushing down. Yeah, right. Okay. Well, it does look like maybe it's not lined up like this direction, this way. Like this way it looks fine, but that's the ground is in the middle there. I don't know how much I really want to like. I'm trying to look at the pins, like Bucket Mouse said. Let me actually let's see the other side of this thing. Did I roast the heck out of this thing? Ooh, my whole stand here is pretty hot. You probably should use, I don't know what kind of fire resistant or heat resistant gloves or something. I don't know. So you don't hurt yourself. Don't do anything that I'm doing. Yeah, like the side that I can see closest to me here looks really good. But the side farthest away, it looks like the part could still come toward me. which is what I thought I was just trying to do, but apparently not. Usually, let's do the Leon trick. Get some paper towel. Okay. Just to get some more of the flux off. Yeah. If you look at it this way, the top edge is not lined up as well as the bottom is. But like I said, this way is fine. It's this way that it needs to come down a little bit, I think. It looks a lot better than some you've seen. So you should think I should just leave it, Cody? I don't know. Maybe I should just leave it. Maybe I don't want to touch it anymore. I see on the other side, I'm looking at the pins and they look connected. It just isn't, I guess, I just don't want it to be bridging the ground pad in the middle. You know? I don't know. Should I give it one more whack and try to move it down a little bit? I kind of think that. Actually, let me do this too. Move it to the very top. There we go. Well, now I'm getting into problems when I can't. The minimum focus distance on my camera is not. I couldn't focus that shallow, that close to the piece, so I had to move it up a little bit. Okay, well, maybe I'll try a little bit more. This might be the only thing I do tonight. Sent me a pic. Okay. I'm surprised we haven't heard any classic Leon comments. Yeah, right. Where is he? Oh, see ya, Newman. See you later. Let me just look at... you sent me a pic where in Discord? Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's like you have like an inch of solder already, and then you try to use the hot air. I don't think you really need that much solder to get this to work. I'm just gonna let it cool down a second. Like that DigiKey article is good advice because it's, you know, you're relying on at least a temperature probe on the board here to tell you how what temperature the board is. That's when they actually like industrially solder on surface mount components. Each type of solder has like a heat profile on like the type of what temperature, or like over time how it likes the temperature to be, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So it's generally not like all the heat at one time. It's like low heat, kind of like heating the board up, and then hold it at a certain temperature, and then come down and cool down the board afterward. So I'm gonna give it one more. Could always hi Ivan. Could always reflow it later. The problem with reflowing it later. Oh, actually, if I do the underneath heating method, I really don't really. The thing that I was worried about is blowing parts off the board. But if if I heat it up from the bottom, I guess that's probably fine. Although the only risk there is, you know, I don't know if that damages the other. I guess I could just add more flux. I don't want to ruin the joints on the other parts. Okay. Well, actually, now that I have this little helping hands thing, I guess we can solder some of these components. Like maybe we should start away from it, like up here or something. It's like half a grain of rice of paste for me to get these adhered. Yeah, I probably use way too much. It's probably easier to use less so you have a better visual, like you can see it better. I kind of messed up that, so I'll probably do that. You know, I can reflow it later. I don't necessarily want to reflow it if something, you know, I'd rather it not to be bad. Like I'd rather it not damage something, but wow, less flux is more now in this case, guys. When people will get mad at me for not putting more flux on it. I don't know, just well, let's see. What's our strategy going to be now? I see some bigger components over here. I see some 0603 components down here. I kind of like the idea of just starting at the top and working down. There aren't any other components that we need to solder the way that I just soldered that. So I guess I can start with I want to start with, what is this, Q2? I'm going to start in the top left here, and I'll kind of work around. So how I like to do it is step 1, find the part. So we're looking for Q2, Q1, U2. Nope. I want to say that all the U's are usually in silver. Oh, here it is, Q2. You could also do all the instances of a certain part too. Like this same part is used for Q2 and Q4. So we might do both, but it all depends, right? Because you want to leave yourself more. The objective is to, it's kind of like Tetrising the pieces onto the board, because you want to leave yourself enough room so that you don't have less room to, you know what? Now that I say that out loud, like U2 is probably another good case, because U2 has kind of small pin pitch also. And so you might need to solder a lot of different sides of it. So if other parts were in the way, it might make that more difficult. I guess that's what I was trying to say. However, in this case, it's sort of half, 6 in one, half dozen in the other, because it's like this, either way, whichever component you do, the other one's going to be in the way after you finish it. So I don't know if it really matters that much. So, okay, so we've got our part taken out of the package, off to the side. You guys can not see me, but that's what I'm doing. Oh God, that piece just went flying. See, I ordered an extra, but I don't have any idea where that piece just went. Be careful. Honestly, if you are worried, maybe you can try, I don't know, soldering on the floor is a dumb idea. But just try not to lose your parts and order extras for everything. Okay. Okay, so now I've got the part in my hand. You can't really see it because I'm holding it, but what I want to do is, these only really go on one way because there's only one pin on one side and 2 on the other side. I'm just going to kind of demonstrate how I solder any surface mount thing here, which is usually put like pre-tin one pad first. So for Q2 here in the corner, I'm just going to do one of the pads there. Then I take my tweezers, take the tweezers, and off screen, I know you guys can't see me, line up the part, right, and get in the tweezers. And when you put it up on the thing, you want to make sure that it's kind of as flat as you possibly can, right? So orient the piece on the board kind of as flat as possible. Then apply pressure with your tweezers against the solder and heat it up with your iron at the same time that you move it forward. And then, let the solder cool down before you move the tweezers away, but you're kind of pushing the part into the solder instead of adding solder to a joint, if that makes sense. And then it makes it really easy to go back and do the other parts, the other legs, I mean. So Q2 is pretty much done. Okay, cool. Well, we're making some progress, I guess. I guess my rant, earlier rant went on for a while. The classic, where the heck did that go? Yeah, I'll probably find it and not know what it is later on, so that's fun. See, it could be on the floor too, and if you lose an SMD part on the floor, then like you're gonna vacuum that thing before you're gonna find it. Especially if you have a rug. No way, did I just find it? I found it! Yo! What? Let's go. Okay. That's awesome. That never happens, ever. You never find those ones you find that fall on the floor. That is funny. Oh, I'm all tweaked here. Okay. All right, so from now it's kind of like, okay, where do we go next? C1, I guess. Okay, so like I said, you could tin one of those sides. So tin one side of C1. This looks like it's just a normal. Normally the names are semi-related to what they are. So like U is like a IC usually. Q, I'm not really sure what Q is, but that's another kind of indicator of it's like something that's not a normal resistor or capacitor. But obviously C is usually capacitor and R is resistor. D is diode or LED sometimes. Yeah. So in a way, it kind of helps you out. But again, all the reference designators should be on the packages anyways. So I'm putting this back, the piece I found. That was awesome. Can't believe I found that. That's ridiculous. Eyes of a Hawk. Well, I'm like, what the hell is this black thing? And I just found it. The flying parts, yeah. That's great. I'm a fan of doing all the specific component first, caps, then resistors, then last of the other types. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, honestly, this one is probably fine to do it however you want to tackle it, but I could see if you had a different board, you might want to do it a certain way. All right, so I'm looking for C1. I didn't find it yet. C1 is probably in a white package. C5. You know what? That's however you need to organize it is good. So maybe that is a good idea to kind of do, or make one of the entire bag, I guess, at a time. Oh boy, I hope C4. This might be in the other bag. L1. Oh, here's, what did I say it was? What were you on? C1. Okay, found it. Okay, C1 is 47 microfarad. And they come in these little bags. All right, this is probably going to be the last component tonight. I wish I made more progress, but I will probably... I'll probably pre-solder at least the power board before the next stream. So like however far I get tonight, and then I'll probably do the rest offline. And then next time we come back, we can take a look about fixing that, or maybe I'll just move on to the other board. Like I'll show you what I finished, and then we can move on to the other board. But at this point, it's going to be like I just need to do a lot of tedious work. So if you've got any questions or anybody wants to talk about anything, now is a good time. Actually, here's something interesting while I'm fishing this component out. Completely unrelated from retro. I started playing World of Warcraft again. I used to play World of Warcraft at the end of high school, and then kind of still in my my community college days. I played not like I normally did PvE, like raids and stuff, not PvP, but which is the competitive, like people versus people. But I'm playing on a private server now, so I don't have to pay anything. I mean, maybe some people might not be interested in playing on a private server, but I am not interested in paying however much World of Warcraft is nowadays. And so I'm playing on this server that it's called Turtle WoW if you're interested. And it's fun. It's like it's just the original. Let me just double check that this is the correct C1 and C3. See, actually, maybe that's a good idea. Whoever mentioned that in the comments just now about going in order or staying in order, doing all the components first, like all the capacitors or something. That might not be a bad idea. Anyway, so WoW is fun. I've just been playing it. It's free to play as long as you're on the private server. Just a big, oh gosh, I'm really dropping the ball on this. Yeah, I'm playing on Alliance. If you have played WoW and you want to play on the same server, or like you want to start a character or something, I'm playing on Alliance. If you've never played WoW, there are two factions in the game, the Horde and the Alliance, and essentially you can't play with the other faction cooperatively. You could play against them in like a battle. Come on. You could play against them in a battleground or arena or something, but you can't quest with them. They're kind of enemies with each other, and they don't associate, basically. So I guess what I'm trying to say is this is frustrating. I hate this. This piece. won't stay. If you want to play with me, you have to pick alliance, or otherwise, basically, you might as well not play with me. That's what I'm trying to say. This is the worst. I don't know why it's giving me such a hard time. This is such a basic component to put on, but I'm losing it. Okay. Gosh. I think I'm just going to solder the other side and move on. Oh my god. This is what not to do. I start talking about WoW and I just start messing everything up. Okay, well, I guess here's a lesson. If you mess up on a part like this, it's better to take everything off and then clean. You have to clean one of the pads again because you need to have everything flat. So I'm going to use the left pad this time, and I'm going to turn it around. Sorry, if anyone was watching that and watching me struggle, then I'm sorry. I guess I should use some liquid flux. I'm not going to use the sticky stuff. I'll just use my normal liquid flux. I just want to solder this component and then go talk and then look at the chat. That's all I want to do. Okay, got it. We did it. Hooray. Okay, got it. We did 2 things, 3 things. We did it. Okay, that's where I'm going to leave this right now. I might finish the power board offline, but I'll do the other board in a stream. And next stream, so the next stream will be Wednesday, we'll be able to get some more work done because I'm not going to talk about the project anymore. So this stream was kind of like an intro and what to expect. And next stream will be better. All right, let me sit down and read the comments and catch up. I am trying to work on getting a second stream deck over there so that I can control. I don't know. I'm not sure. They're so expensive. They're like $100. Or like I don't need to spend $100 on that. Okay, let's read. Eyes of a Hawk. Yeah. We lost him to WoW. Well, so the cool part about WoW is I'm just questing right now, which is leveling up. Like I'm not really, occasionally I'll play with other people if they're like doing the same quest and they're in the same area. Yeah, but that's one of those games that if you've never played it, at least old WoW. I don't know anything about new WoW because I stopped playing around Cataclysm, which was like the 4th expansion, and there's been like 3 or 4 other ones too. So I don't really know what modern WoW is like. But old WoW was very. It just gave you this feeling that the world and the environment was so massive, and everything was slow paced. It's like. It's more of a test of your own personal, like, patience. That's what World of Warcraft is. It's not really a game about skill, although it can be. And there's actually a cool documentary. I think it's by Folding Ideas about like why it's not good, why it's a bad thing to be bad at World of Warcraft. It's considered like bad manners, and I definitely feel that way for sure because. As you get to the end level, so the max level in the for the original WoW was only 60, level 60. After you get to level 60, that's kind of where the game begins because then you could do, high level PvP with other players, and you can do ranked PvP there, or you can also do raids, which is like raids are like the stuff that you do after you fully level up to get even better gear. So like you get. In World of Warcraft, it's called tiers. So your armor is like in different tiers, and that's like I guess, the lower the tier, it's not good. Like the higher the tier, it's just they kept adding tiers as they added more expansions, basically. So like the lower the number, the worse it is. But anyways, it's complicated. But that's what you do after you get max level, is you do other stuff or you stop playing. So just casually questing. Well, I don't know how much I'm gonna play. Step one was it was free. So it was very low effort to try it. I had low expectations because I'd never played on a private server before. But Turtle WoW is a European server, but still at like NA times, there's still like 5,000 people on the server, which is a lot of people, and it's crowded in the game. Which if you're gonna play WoW, you really kind of want it to be crowded, although. Crowded meaning like a lot of people around you. It just it immerses you so much into this environment. So that's why it's cool. I think one of the reasons it's cool to play WoW is it's very immersive, and like you feel like you're in a community with other people around you. And this is kind of going back to what I was saying, that like sometimes people view being bad at I can turn this stupid thing off so I'm not screaming. Some people view being bad at World of Warcraft as bad, because if you're bad at World of Warcraft, then you kind of waste other people's time. And so I just have it just feels like everybody wants you to be good, which it can be good and can be bad. Like if you're a new player, obviously that's super intimidating. Although, you do need to learn some rules, I guess, like etiquette. But once you learn the etiquette, it's like, there's no replacement for that. I don't know. I know this is one of this big rant about World of Warcraft, but that game's fun. So, work season is ending soon. Yeah, even if you just do it offline or do it by yourself, just to see if you like it. If you've never played it, Blizzard released Classic WoW, which is like they just had. They have a second set of servers that just play the original game, because people got so mad that Blizzard went so far away from the original game, like adding content and stuff. They got so mad that they wanted Blizzard to release the original, the classic game. So they created WoW Classic. So that is a Blizzard run classic server, but this is a private classic server because it is limited to the first expansion. But it's kind of interesting because it adds custom stuff. Like they added their own quests and stuff, the Turtle WoW people. So it's interesting. yeah, right. Dan Olson, isn't that the Folding Ideas guy? Or maybe that's somebody different. I don't know. But yes, why it's rude to be suck at World of Warcraft, because it's a long video and it explains it a lot more in detail than I can explain it. But I remember the first time. So there's while you're leveling, like while you're grinding to get up to max level, you don't have to just do quests and stuff. The game is designed in a way where you stay in an area and you do a bunch of quests at this same like skill level, and then, or not skill level, character level, and then when you finish all the quests in an area, the last quests in the quest area will lead you to the next area, and then it will have a whole nother string of quests at that next new higher level. So it kind of strings you along the whole world, not the whole world, because keep in mind there's two factions, so the whole entire world is split in half by horde controlled zones and alliance controlled zones. Then there's also neutral zones. There's battleground stuff where you can fight each other and stuff. But you can also do dungeons, or they call them instances, because when you go into this dungeon and your group of 5 people or whatever, after 24 hours, the dungeon gets reset. So as you're going through a dungeon, you can kill enemies and stuff and they don't respawn. But after a day, a week. After a week, the dungeon gets reset and you can start fresh again. Or you can reset it yourself if you want anytime. But it's kind of neat. If you get like halfway through a dungeon, you can like stop and do it again later, or you could just join someone else's group. They handle it really well. I have a lot of fond memories for that game. So yeah, Folding Ideas. Yeah, right. Got it. I'm here for the WoW rant. Yeah. Well, I guess it's is it retro? The original game came out in 2004 or 2006. I don't know. That's game. No, that's not. That's Game Boy. That's probably DS era, not even Game Boy era. People said the same thing about Destiny. I've never played Destiny, but I doubt it. WoW was the first MMO that I ever played, and it was the first game that made me think. If you think about it, stuff like Discord, social media, kind of to a certain extent, but it's really like new social media. I guess what do they call it? Like Internet 1.0 was like the original computers connecting to each other. Internet 2.0 was like just the World Wide Web or something, or search engines. There's like certain details about what classifies certain types of internet websites and stuff. And then like Web 3.0 or whatever, was that supposed to be Bitcoin or some dumb shit, or was that social media? But like new social media, World of Warcraft for me was sort of new social media. It gave me, or like Discord, where you have this feeling where you're in a world that is constantly moving, whether you're in it or you participated in it or not, because you know hundreds of thousands or millions or whatever of people are playing it. And so like when you're offline, this world still exists and it's still going. It's not like a game that you play a single player game, you turn it off and you walk away, and it's not doing anything while you're not doing anything. WoW it's going whether you're on it or not. That's sort of like Discord. Well, Discord is cool because you can kind of check it. It's synchronous in the sense that you can talk with people. Like I'm talking with you guys in chat, but I also can talk on Discord, and like I know it's real time if you're typing back to me, but I can also go and do something else and come back to it. It's hard to explain, but WoW was the first game that I ever played that was like, holy cow. I mean, there's a certain type of person that might think that they would rather live in a digital world, like not really care that much about their social presence in real life, like they could exist only digitally, or they would prefer to just hang out with people digitally. I'm kind of one of those people. I think I'm 50-50 with which one I like. Maybe 60-40, 60 online and 40 offline. But there's a lot of people that I think out there that know in their heart that they like being online more than they like being not online. Like they're whether it's to talk to other people that are like them, do a hobby together. That's kind of like what we're doing now, is we're hobbying together. But that's this sort of weird, you live. I'm not going to say the metaverse, but it's sort of the metaverse, right? That's that idea that you are connected through the internet to everybody else, and you're doing things together. I don't know why. I don't know why. It started with World of Warcraft for me. Yeah. So. Yay, Alexmon. Yeah, you're using the new FR301. Oh, RuneScape. Yeah, RuneScape was like a dipping your toe in, because you felt the same thing there when you boot up RuneScape and you're in that first town. I don't remember what it's called, but you see like all these people around you, or you're in a hub like the town square in the middle where everybody's selling stuff. RuneScape gives you that feeling, but it wasn't until WoW that I was like, holy cow, this is real. Like this guild, like you can have guilds in that game, so that people just you kind of exist. You can chat to each other in this special chat room, but usually it's groups of people that will like, oh, I want to go dungeon, or they'll try to do raids, which are like that's what I was saying, the end game dungeons. An original end game dungeons for World of Warcraft, you needed 40 people to do a raid. That's how complicated they were. 40 people at once. So you used Ventrilo, if you guys remember Ventrilo, voice comms. So like that was the first time voice comms was popular, because you needed it seems stupid to talk about it. Like I sound stupid when I'm describing it to you guys, but it's sort of like, imagine somebody's part-time job or full-time job is to just coordinate people playing a stupid video game 3 or 4 times a week. But that's the power of that. I don't know what you call it. I guess I don't know, not quite the not quite metaverse, but you know, always online stuff. Consciousness, yeah. If you could fully immerse your consciousness in VR, right? That's people like to dunk on metaverse and Mark Zuckerberg. I just feel like it's a little too early, but there's some Ready Player One stuff floating around. It's going to happen, I think. As soon as we get a good VR or AR, really, it would be nice too. So you can exist both, you know, improve your own house. Because if I had AR right now, I could have nice screens everywhere. I wouldn't be worried about where things were physically located. I could organize stuff better. So AR would be good for that. But yeah, deep immersive VR is that's what's going to take us into, yeah, that stuff. We are analog people in the digital world. I prefer the future just be more games in the style they are now. VR and AR gives me headaches. Right. That's what so that there's something that hasn't been figured out yet to make it seem seamless. Because there was a time when these guys this was not, nobody thought that this was really going to catch on. I think. Well, up until the iPhone, I don't think people thought that smartphones, like you had Blackberries and stuff like that, which is not, you know, this caused something where there are people that exist, and I don't, this, as a person that loves my computer, and I love computer or technology and computers and stuff, I cannot imagine somebody who does not own a computer or doesn't use a computer on the regular. Like my sister doesn't have a the only computer that she had for a long time was a laptop, and now she doesn't even use that. She says that her family and her kids use an iPad. That's their computer. An entire family that doesn't have a single computer between them, any of them. That, to me, is ridiculous, but it was caused by the phone. So as soon as VR goggles get slim enough, sleek enough, easy enough, you know, the battery lasts long enough, I could see that definitely taking over phones, or at least augmenting phones in a way where you could use them as an actual computer replacement. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I hope that happens, because that is sweet, and that's like a, you know, Ready Player One kind of. Well, that's like way too far the other way, but I don't get it all. I don't know. That's Fickle Pickle. I don't get it. Like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I know you guys probably know that I'm a nerd, but like, and I don't think I'm a super nerd. Maybe I'm a super nerd, but I just don't get it. Cavemen, yeah. Get out of their sports and stuff. Like, you can have the sports. Give me all the computers. Okay. All right. I know I probably could have worked Lumbridge. Yeah, thanks, Bugmouse. Yeah. Destiny is also MMO. Yeah, yep. I hope so, Cody. Well, I don't know if I hope it, because, you know, obviously if you have glasses, it's annoying. It adds another layer of complexity to having goggles, but we're in a weird spot where we're so used to physical computers, like not movable computers. Well, I guess actually this is a movable computer, right? So if you guys are like me and you still appreciate, you know, computer and monitor and stuff like that, like a desktop setup or even a laptop, I would say to some degree, you know, you appreciate that, versus like this is technically a computer. You could do most of the stuff that a not computer could do, but I don't know. So I'm just trying to think, you know, what would AR and VR be? I don't know. I mean, it would just be, instead of an iPad, you could just have that on. I don't know. I think it'll be cool, because you can have screens anywhere you want, and like that's kind of a cool cyberpunk feature. Every device will be a hologram. Yeah, if you get it good enough. Go look at the build I posted in general. Okay. Whoa. I'm just, let me, what is this? Okay, so I saw some of this before. I don't think the screen is what we want to look at. I think we want to look at, unless it's the laminated screen. This might be the laminated screen. But I saw something to do with ports. Ah, yes, the rechargeable battery and a little, I'm going to guess, power delivery circuitry. So you'll see when we get into the actual assembly of the Pocket. Actually, so what did you have to do? Did you have to cut? Is that a new PCB bucket mouse? Belmont. We already accept the machine as part of us. We feel lost. Right, we do feel. Yeah, that is very weird. Well, so I'll continue about this. So I don't know. Do you have to cut a port down at the bottom to make this work? But that's cool. Definitely rechargeable battery, especially if it's bigger capacity. 900 milliamp hours. What's two AAAs? How many milliamp hours is two AAAs? Or I guess it's in series, right? Because it's 3-volt logic. Okay, so 750 milliamp hours. So compared to the normal Eneloops, not the Eneloop Pros, that this LiPo battery is more capacity. So that's good. That'll give you more capacity. You know what's crazy, actually, now that I think? If you look at a normal battery, like a not rechargeable battery, they don't mention anything about the amp hours. How long these are supposed to last for, how long they're rated to last for. I never thought about that as a kid, right? Because you think, what's the difference between this brand of batteries and another brand of batteries? It's, the chemistry is different, and yeah, I don't know, just interesting to think about. 900 milliamps, but 3.7 volts. Okay, so it lasts longer because it's also slightly higher voltage, right? 3.3 watt hours. Yes, Cody Wicker, cut the shell for me because I'm a noob. I like it. Just replace the DC jack with the USB-C adapter board. Okay, got it. Nice. That is the laminated screen. So that's what I'm interested in. And Cody, it sounded like when Cody was describing it, you can use the Q5 laminated, but you need the Pocket Q5 laminated, but you need to use the color flex cable. So you need to buy both the color. Don't take this as gospel. You have to look this up first. But I was kind of confused about how to do the laminated because I really wanted to do that. But you put 1,800 milliamp hours. You have a giant battery. What the heck? Oh wow, Eneloop Pros are 930. Okay, so we got a lot. This is a cool project. You guys are welcome to ask questions on a tweet or anything. Very cool, exciting. Yeah. Okay. All right. I ranted enough about World of Warcraft. I probably could have worked on the board. Some people are probably like, "What the hell are you talking about?" But that's what I've been doing in my free time, other than watching Modern Family. But yeah, it's a whole thing. You cut half the Pocket out to put a giant battery in it. I have some drone batteries. I could put a 4S battery in it, make it take off. Okay. All right. Someday I'll fix the comments. You can't see there's no reason to have these comments if you can't see them. All right. I don't want to write a guide for the laminated screen because it's a lot. Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, okay. We'll figure that out in the future. I can always upgrade this in the future once we get the board done. So, okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. I'll be back on Wednesday. I'll probably try to finish populating the power board, and then we'll start tackling the actual Pocket Color main board, which is going to take a long time too. However, we can mix it up because we still need to. I didn't desolder anything from the Game Boy Color yet, so we need to desolder the CPU and all the paraphernalia around the edge, the plugs and the extension port, and the headphone jack and all that stuff. So lots of stuff to do. You have to get them with a forwarding service. Yeah. SuperBuy is its own forwarding service or something. So, okay.